Monarchy, the OG pyramid scheme. Honestly, back in my day, it was the only one. Today, every loser with a YouTube channel can have their very own conspiracy-motivated hangout with men, give them all your money, listen to everything they tell you, and that will somehow spawn women in your bedroom. That's the type of liberal nonsense we are rejecting today by playing Denmark, a real country located in Old Zealand, not to be mistaken with New Zealand, which doesn't actually exist. It's liberal propaganda. Alright, first things first, we have to lower our taxes and be completely economically dependent on our income from the main strait. We didn't name it the Strait of the Russian and Prussian credit card number and the 3 small digits in the back for nothing. This gives us 1300 Denmarks per week. At least I hope that's how our currency is called. Naturally, this will help balance the budget of King Friedrich von Oldenburg. By God, he's old. It's in the name and everything. Legally speaking, we look pretty good. But we're going to switch from this liberal local police to a dedicated police force, because back in my day, locals weren't allowed to police themselves. Anyway, it is time for us to conquer Africa, and we shall start by invading Ashanti. But first we have to station our troops here, transporting them via our massive navy. Honestly, back in my day, we didn't need boats to invade Africa. We would just swim all the way, without needing to concern ourselves with boats. Kids these days, they're just not made of the same stuff. I mean, now we have to design a brand new, cheap ship to transport our troops. What's this world coming to? Can you guys imagine if Genghis Khan needed boats to do anything? That would be preposterous. And it seems that we're making quite a lot of Denmarks with our toes. I'm sure the Russians and the Prussians don't mind. Anyway, we're going to make a big wood deal with the Russians and some coal and dyes from the British, as we still don't have a lot of trade capacity. Finally, after 1,000 years, we can invade Ashanti. Unfortunately, it seems that we have to fight Sokoto and the 2 Sicilies. But that's alright guys, as our reinforcements are on the way with the boats. You know, back in my day, we used to be able to teleport halfway through the world and smash our enemies directly. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I don't want to sound like an old man screaming at the children, but I remember a time where you could simply click a button and have an interest in a region. Now, you need to have your navy nearby, project your power, make diplomatic deals, and build up engagement. It's just not the same thing. We were objectively way better, and it's not my faulty memory. Promise. Alright, but here's the real knee slapper. We actually need supply boats, so we can bring supplies to the troops, allowing them to fight effectively. This boils my blood, as back in the day we were trained to eviscerate our enemies with our bare hands. The police reforms are done. Sokoto gave up, which means there's nothing stopping us from winning this war, even without supplies. Some things just never change. My navy was sunk. What? I mean, we're victorious, but it seems that we lost quite a lot of boats, even though my navy was parked in Old Zealand. Realistically, my whole army is now stuck in Africa. Until I build my transport fleet, God knows what my soldiers will do to kill the time. In the meantime, we're going to switch our education system. Clearly, the children are coming out of school too soft. And now we're invading Borgung, as my soldiers are stuck and literally have nothing better to do. They back down. Alright then, it's time for us to invade Dahomey. Holy smokes, look at World War I. I would have definitely got involved if my army wasn't stuck in Africa. Also, this seems to have tanked our toll profits. Finally, an education system which will teach all of the children that throwing a life away in the meat grinder of war is honorable, just like the good old days. And finally, I get to be king. That's right, it is I, Christian von Oldenburg. God, I'm old. And I've decided I completely refuse to regulate any businesses. I can't be bothered to do the paperwork. Instead, I'm going to live up the rest of my life in luxury, just as I always have. God bless nepotism. And even more good news, we can finally get our first company, AP Moller, the shipbuilding one. Also, I just noticed I accidentally colonized the African countries that have zero coal or iron, which we desperately need. I mean, all of it is located in Benin. Unfortunately, we have to murder oil as well. Now don't get me wrong, murder doesn't bother me at all. I love murder, especially in my African colonies. Am I a European monarch or what? But I feel like an idiot invading countries I didn't have to. No, I'm the main character of the universe. Clearly, the youth couldn't read the map properly. Yeah, that explains it. Kids these days. Am I right, guys? Although, I'm going to be honest, the new war-ending screen is pretty pretty cool. You can clearly see that we spent 6,000 Denmarks in pursuit of the war instead of spending it on healthcare or education or infrastructure or literally anything else. You guys should stop looking at that. Instead, we should focus on the fact that we're no longer edging bankruptcy and we can start building our ships, allowing us to ferry our soldiers back home, which is still a plot point, by the way, and my economic administrative job as the king diminishes. Now that's what I live for. We should also get cultural exclusion, as discriminating is a lot of paperwork and I don't feel like it. The rise of radicalism. Alright, that's it. I firmly stand behind the conservative establishment. Not for too long, as my kneecaps hurt, and I should probably sit, not for too long, as my lower back hurts. God, I hate being old. My penis doesn't work in everything. Also, we're going to establish the Danish Metalworks Inc., which is a pretty metal company. We're also going to release Ashanti as a subject state, and they get to inherit all of our laws. But they also get debt slavery. Because we have colonial slavery, they will do a great job administrating Africa for me, as I personally can't be bothered. This will lower the turmoil in all of the provinces, allowing us to start investing way faster. The Danish Revolution, send in the army immediately. Also, arrest all of my political enemies, as might makes right. Obviously, we're going to enact a capital fleet, allowing us to build the biggest ships with the biggest guns. Reform at gunpoint, crap! All the radical bastards rushed into the parliament and are attempting to enact universal suffrage by pointing guns at us. Gentlemen, you have my respect, and universal suffrage. Now that's good politics. Let's get to voting. The Free People's Party managed to win, but they're going to form a government with the Hujri, allowing us to boost the counter-revolution. I mean, you guys didn't expect I would just sit here and count votes all day. That's quite a lot of paperwork, and I would rather kill. Wait a minute, Norway is fighting for their independence, and I'm willing to help them, so long as we can add the Swedish credit card to the Strait. We managed to enact a capital fleet. Also, the counter-revolution is successful, allowing us to bring back the oligarchy. And we're also going to enact homesteading, which isn't called homesteading anymore. Hang on a minute, when did that happen? It is time for us to Denmark all over Sweden, just as God intended. And Sweden just gave up, just as we occupied our war goal. Well, that works for me. And now we have a free and independent Norway. That's right, now they can enjoy their freedom, sovereignty, independence, right of self-determination. Well, no more of that. It is time for us to make them our protectorate. I mean, I built my massive navy, and now we can transport half of our army. That's pretty good. And now we have peasant proprietorship. Also, we seem to have lowered the tolls. Ho 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 boy, now that's the Denmarks I've been missing. And we managed to land, which means it's time for Norway to bend the knee. But this time, to me. Which is objectively a good thing, because this way, they can be a part of the Old Zealand Empire. And I'm going to make it more powerful and influential than New Zealand, which doesn't actually exist. You only think it does, because you have fallen victim to the Cunningham's law. We're also getting quite a large amount of engagement in West Africa, which means annexing Sokoto won't cost as much infamy. They back down. Ashanti will be pretty happy with our brave conquest, as they get more paperwork. World War II, Egypt is in the boogaloo. Wait a minute, Russia has embraced gross liberal ideas, such as universal suffrage. I shudder at the thought of having to count votes again. We desperately need a secret police force, which will systematically eliminate all of my political enemies. What the dickens? The Netherlands is demanding Ashanti, but that's the only thing keeping me relevant on the world stage. Alright, that's it. I'm going to demand the Dutch East Indies, because that's the only thing keeping them relevant on the world stage. Small colonial enthusiasts on small colonial enthusiasts' violence. A tale as old as time. Granted, I am having a massive revolt edging bankruptcy, and Holstein decided to switch sides, so we have to be very quick with our landing in Holland, which isn't looking too good, but Holstein capitulated. That closes one front. Alright then, we have to regroup. In the meantime, we're going to have some shore bombardment. You know, my father always used to say, blowing up civilians always works. I mean, who am I to disagree with the wisdom of the old people? Also, we're gonna have to stop our secret police, as we're simply not ready for a civil war just yet. And it seems that 25 25% is the maximum devastation. Now then, we shall try to combo it with a blockade, because trying to rebuild your city is very difficult when your supply chains are disrupted. What the dickens? Sweden is demanding Norway. We obviously have to subjugate them. Are we trying to bring back the good old days, or what? And it seems that we can only blockade 8% of their ports, which isn't enough to cripple their economy. Instead, we're going to try privateering. As my father always used to say, we're desperate for money. Speaking of we're desperate for money, we're going to increase taxes, as waging 2 wars is pretty expensive. I mean, can you guys imagine what kind of a cuck you have to be to demand payment for your military service just as your country needs you most? I remember back in my days, we used to go to the doctor, pay them money so he can fake an illness, allowing us to dodge the draft. And kids these days simply refuse to volunteer themselves in the meat grinder of war. Where they're getting these ideas from? It doesn't make any sense. They're bombing our shores. Fools, if you believe that I'm the type of king who will back down because civilians are dying, you have another thing coming. Also, I bravely managed to solve all of our budgetary issues. The answer was piracy this whole time. So the way this works is our navy takes goods from the enemy market and sells them in our market, lowering our government expenses whilst making profit at the same time. And we managed to fix the taxes. So we've been at this for a while, and just look at this. Even though we're running a deficit, we're constantly making more money. At this point, I'm afraid to end the war. And Sweden has capitulated, bending the knee to Denmark. My father would be so proud. And now we're going to get public healthcare, as I physically can't spend the stolen pirate money fast enough. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. It is time for us to end this once and for all. As you can clearly see, I've been busy building ships, and we managed to land, which means that the Netherlands and their colonial ambitions are finished. And ours have just now begun, as we now have the Danish East Indies. Things are finally looking up. Crap! Prussia is trying to form Germany, and they're also attacking Schleswig and Holstein, but I can't join. Oh no, I have to think, what would my father do? Oh, but of course, he would sit here and watch, like a cuck, and afterwards vent his frustrations to his family. Come on, Norway, we are lowering your autonomy. It's clearly all your fault. Honestly, I feel better already. Oh crap, they annexed my guys. Come on, France, I'm counting on you. Which sounds pretty bad, but realistically, I'm praying for a miracle. And we lowered Norway's autonomy. All we have to do now is lower Sweden's autonomy as well, so we can form Scandinavia. And AP Morgan was successful with designing their brand new legendary boat. Wait a minute, that's the name of the expansion, which means we did it, we won the game, we can stop playing now. And we have a great opportunity to have good relations with Egypt. Hopefully, we can build the Suez Canal and make even more toll money. And we should also get free trade. As you're probably aware, Germany can now circumvent our strait, which is very damaging for the budget. Alright, so here's the plan. We're gonna start spreading foreign propaganda into Germany. Hopefully, they'll start thinking foreigners are taking over their country, which will destabilize them. And when the inevitable civil war happens, we're going to conquer their coastline and cut their access from the sea, forcing them back into our toll system. Also, I just noticed, the guy who made the map can't actually spell sea. I feel like our education system needs reforms. Sweden has declared bankruptcy. This leaves us no choice. We have to bail them out by lowering their autonomy, which will allow us to annex them as we form Scandinavia. Oh no, Spain is trying to stop my creative financial solutions, but they don't have any boats, so I doubt they'll send any armies to help. But speaking of creative economic solutions, it's time for some more privateering. Freedom of trade, the policy for champions. You know, when I was a kid, all of the adults, teachers and politicians kept saying stuff like children are the future, and at the same time they kept taking the actions which give them short-term gains in exchange for long-term problems, and I always thought that was kind of strange. But today, as a 30-year-old virgin jobless loser who can't move out of his parents' house, I finally get it. They wanted the future to suck. And honestly, I can't help but marvel at the expert craftsmanship. Sweden capitulated, and I guess we can allow Spain to invest in Norway, as they won't exist for much longer. That's right, it is time for us to form Scandinavia. Wait a minute, I need one more province. This leaves us with two options. We either attack Germany, which are defended by Great Britain and Russia, or we can attack Russia, who are defended by Germany and Great Britain. Crap. Alright then, we're going to get a defensive pact with Great Britain, as we need some form of protection against Russia and Germany. But you know what? I think we should invest in the future. That's right, it's time for an education reform. Back in my days, when we had religious schools, they taught us all the important lessons, such as the art of self-defense.
Now, if your assailant has a firearm, like so, you're gonna want to put your hands up. Like a Sunday morning, want to get those hands up. Now at this point, you're gonna want to fall to your knees and you're gonna want to say this prayer. Go ahead and say these words after me. Oh God, please, oh God, I don't want to die. Amen.
Leaving me with no choice, we have to get a private school system, which is objectively the worst one, ensuring that in the future no one shall be powerful enough to depose me, cementing myself as the king forever. But just in case, we're going to open the border for all the immigrants. Remember guys, it's all their fault, and definitely not me, the guy in charge. That would be ridiculous. Alright guys, hear me out. Boats made out of metal. That's right, we have access to the new trooper transport. Now I know what you guys are thinking, why don't we simply use the brand new trooper ship itself? But you guys are missing the bigger picture. We're also going to make the brand new early ironclads. And you know what? Immigrants! Oh, who let that happen? Well, let's not focus on that. Instead, we should focus on Belgium, as they're ready to join the Old Zealand Empire. And it's also time for us to get a secret police. As you're probably aware, there's plenty of immigrants running around. And we simply have to find who's responsible. Also, our brand new early dreadnought, Leeuwenbach, is going to be designated as Sprite of the Fleet. Honestly, I'm more proud of this boat than my son, which is quite a low bar, but come on, this expansion is all about boats and being like your father. Stinking radical bastards. Unfortunately, we can't have a secret police just yet. First, we need to take poor laws and crush all the poor people's political strength, as they're far too radical. Anyway, it is time for us to bail out Sweden by annexing them the old-fashioned way. And you know what guys, there are no actual other countries in Scandinavia. The only reason why you think otherwise is classic Cunningham's law. And it is time for us to start investing in rubber from Ashanti. With this brand new tool production method, our economy is going to skyrocket. And just to help our skyrocketing along, we're going to subjugate Belgium, shoving their coal directly into our market. And the stupid radicals are revolting again. I gave them literally everything they wanted. How can they possibly be so ungrateful? I just don't get it. Alright then, we shall make some concessions by getting a National Guard, which is something my father would have never done. Alright, that's it, I quit. That's right, I shall abdicate in favor of my mediocre son, Christian von Oldenburg. Good luck, son, you're gonna... Everyone, I would like to introduce you to a brand new king, Frederick Vogelius, who is the rightful heir to the throne and definitely not the evil uncle who just shaved, as that would be ridiculous. His Majesty Frederick Vogelius is also a magnate. What a guy. Now I know some of you are questioning his authority and also disapprove of his evil ways, but you should stop calling him a usurper for your own safety. And we're also starting to produce precision tools, everyone's favorite. Speaking of everyone's favorite, we're going to make Oman our protectorate. They back down, which means we're now controlling the Strait of Hormuz. Unfortunately, we can't close it, as Oman needs to build naval fortifications. But that's alright, because by the time this video comes out, the modern day news cycle would have forgotten all about it. Alright guys, it is time for us to take a complete monopoly over Egyptian trade. And I know what you guys are thinking, this is gonna be a pretty hard deal. But this isn't your old-timey deal making. That's right, now we have a brand new button, the art of the deal. And once we click it, damn it, the button actually read the book. Well, this complicates things. Alright then, we can have a bit more average negotiations. Anyway, Venezuela is ready to join the Empire, which coincidentally has a completely legitimate king. Promise. And we're also going to take the brand new faction pillar related to boats. Is this the boat expansion or what? Alright guys, I hear you. You keep saying stuff like Frederick shouldn't be king. He's nothing but a usurper. What happened to the prince Christian von Oldenburg? Who's next in the line of succession? But none of these things are important, you guys, as the investment pool is over 4 million right now. And you guys thought he shot the prince for nothing, which is nothing but a fringe conspiracy theory. Personally, I'm going to trust the government on this one, and you should do the same. Anyway, we're going to abolish the monarchy and also take down some revolts in the Danish East Indies. And just look at that transport capacity. We have certainly solved that problem. A world to win, stinking socialist bastards. But but I can easily placate them by banning slavery. It's not as if we hold any colonies directly, so it doesn't actually matter to us. What actually matters is that we managed to abolish the monarchy. That's right, our brave chancellor, Frederick Vogelius, is finally ready to declare himself king once and for all. The communists are trying to stop the coronation. Don't worry guys, I'll have them shot for this. Personally, I hate communism. Wait a minute, the communists are rising up in Finland. We certainly have to help them. Unfortunately, we have to defeat our communists first, as they're currently blocking the strait and my boats are on the other side. Finally, with communism destroyed, we have to rush in to help communism. They capitulated. Crap. This leaves us no choice. We have to subjugate Venezuela. I have no choice guys. Promise. And finally, we managed to enact a social monarchy. And now, our fascist state is run by our king, Frederick Vogelius. Oh my god guys, this is the dream of every evil uncle. Obviously, we have to marry a princess. And I do believe a member of the Filipolitan House of Cock would be fitting. Honestly, I have no idea where that is on the map, and I blame my crappy education. We should certainly reform it. Obviously, we have to destroy the slave revolt in Venezuela and the socialists. And of course, it is finally time for a secret police. Crushing revolts, my favorite pastime. And of course, we must completely annihilate those stinking radical bastards, my greatest political enemy. Fear not you guys, His Majesty will quickly take care of Robin Hood and his band of socialists. Only the king can steal from the rich and everyone else by law. Wait a minute, the Russians are no longer allied with Britain and Germany, allowing us to take Finland, while Austria joined them and so did the Netherlands. But luckily for us, I researched trench infantry a decade ago. Alright, I know this might be a bit controversial, as I always skip the electricity and steel construction level of research in order to boost the military, as I firmly believe violence is the fastest way to grow the economy. But don't worry guys, it perfectly fits the evil uncle politics. Also, I'm raising your taxes. The Netherlands capitulated, Austria gave up, and we managed to take the Russian capital, which means we're finally victorious. Alright you guys, it is time for us to click the button and finally form Scandinavia. But because we're fascists, we get to be the Kalmar Union. Also, we're going to get a brand new company. That's right, it's everyone's favorite Swedish company. Look up. Additionally, we can now build a modern ironclad. Oh boy, the world simply isn't ready for Big Kalmar, the biggest ship ever built. Also, I'm going to take all my other pre-existing capital ships, take them out back and put them out of their misery, as in merely 37 years we shall have the biggest fleet this world has ever seen, which is a classic evil uncle thing to do. Speaking of evil uncle things, we're going to start using real estate as a speculative asset on the stock market, and our first batch is ready, and I choose this one, Eastern Norway, to be the pride of the fleet. Finally, our economy is saved, and just as I was increasing our military spending to 5% of GDP. Alright, that's it, we have to liberate all of the oppressed German peoples and arrange the liberated countries in a specific formation, allowing us to funnel all the German trade through our strait, as I personally really miss the massive stacks of Denmarks. Oh crap, they have only one war goal, change the regime in Oman. Now listen guys, I get it. Sultan Twini Al Busaini is an absolute douchebag and definitely has to go, but having only one war goal is the coward's way out. We are completely destroying them, so hopefully we can get there in time. Crap! We lost the war goal because Oman had a revolt. What terrible timing. Get out of my face, Sultan douchebag. Alright guys, I know we're winning and we can absolutely destroy the British and the Germans combined. However, I'm a man of honor and I believe in good sportsmanship, so we're gonna have to capitulate, which is pretty anticlimactic. But I still want to impress you, so I'm going to take the meme ending by invading the United States. Obviously, we have to take Florida and install a king. And of course, we're going to utilize our massive navy, which can transport our whole army, and our naval expansion is almost complete, so I guess we can focus on some more supply ships. We managed to land, allowing us to occupy the White House. Of course we're not gonna burn it down. Listen guys, we might be a fascist state run by the evil uncle, but we're not savages. Listen guys, we really need to talk about hurtful stereotypes, and they capitulated. Also, our foe, President Biden, Byron Delano will now become Emperor Byron Delano. No need to thank me, Americans. I mean, an invitation to the brand new ballroom would be nice. But still, obviously, we have to liberate Greenland and give them Florida, which I can't do. But that's alright, guys. We can always make a deal. Although, they really don't want to take it. Give me a minute. I just have to give them money, take on their debt, and a respectable amount of the most powerful battleships on the planet, along with an obligation. Honestly, that's a pretty good deal. We take those deals. There you go, guys. Duke Nawak Atagotauk will finally be able to bring a proper healthcare system to all the savage Floridians. As far as navies go, we definitely managed to build the biggest one with the biggest ships. And of course, Emperor Frederick Vogelius has managed to achieve peak evil uncle politics. Well, there you go, guys. The moral of the story is, even if you're not next in line to inherit the Danish throne, you can still murder the king and his heirs, transform the country into the most powerful nation on the planet. And even if people call you a usurper, tyrant, that guy who tried to assassinate the king because an internet video told him to, ignore them, as they're stupid people unable to see the bigger picture. Until next time.